Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. We're going to really break down, without all the emotions, why Jasmine Crockett has lost not only her congressional seat, but her chance to be senator within Texas. Now, the establishment is out here trying to spin a different version of this story. They're talking about the precinct changes, early voting cutoffs, and the Republican voter interference in Dallas County. I live in Texas as well. And yes, Ken Paxton and the Texas Supreme Court stepping in to cut off voting hours in her stronghold was a finesse. But let's cut through all the noise that's out there. Without all the emotions, whether it be Democrat, Independent, or Republican, or you just seeing what the hell is going on when it comes to Jasmine Crockett, Black politicians running for office, and what are the real reasons why a lot of Black politicians are losing in office, why a lot of Black politicians are even falling out of office. And by the way, even if they didn't have to make that play, she still would have lost. Let me tell you why. Because a lot of times I know people would like to speak into conjecture and rhetoric and calling her ghetto, her bad wigs. Yeah, all of those things may be true depending on your personal opinion, but that's very subjective, is it not? So I think it's important that we, really point out some of the reasons why she potentially lost. Now, she lost to James Talarico, 52%. This is the latest reports from NBC, but again, as more numbers come in, they may change. To 46%. So roughly over 200,000 votes. If you see the number below them, she roughly lost 200,000+ votes. But let's kind of dial back the real reason why we believe that Jasmine Crockett lost this race. Okay. Let me, guys, give you some evidence, give you some proof, give you some background.
4 minutes and 21 seconds.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Ms. Crockett.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
I'm trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike
those
those
words.
words.
What you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
you just voted to do
Y'all
it.
did it
first,
so
you don't voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Ms.
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized. Ms.
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
And you
yelling.
don't want me
Calm
to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm
don't
down?
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all talk
Calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look, Chairman,
come
can we
and
send
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chair.
I know why
Okay.
You the one talking about.
Exhibit A, ladies and gentlemen. Exhibit A, whether you are leaning left or right on this, meaning right or wrong in your opinion and your assessment, what just took place. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is ghetto too. I believe she's a hick from the mountains. She's a trailer park trash. And she said something about Jasmine Crockett's eyelashes. But what people really don't understand now, I say this a lot. I say it to be funny. But to take Michelle Obama's words out of all people, she states, when they go low, we go high. And that's always been the premise. That's always been the foundation. That's always been the base when we have professional Black Americans running for office, in office, that we always take the high ground. We never take them how they started. This is how we've always kept our status in America. There's a professionalism to Black Americans. Yes, do we have ghetto people and hood rats and gangs? Yeah, we have all of those things just as well as other communities do. Whether it be white, Hispanic, or Asian. We all have these different subsects of our demographics. But when you show this on the world stage in the most powerful country in the world, when we can't take the high road, and I get it, we're so tired of taking the high road. We're so tired of taking the high road, but this is the deck that we have been dealt. And we have to play our hand like we always have played our hand. Who in the hell is James Talarico? I'm just asking for a friend. Now, the real reason she lost, she believed too hard in the Democratic Party machine and completely abandoned the grassroots Black voters. That is what most people are talking about. They're using all of these shaming tactics. They're calling out Black men. They're making us the villain once again. We don't need any help from our beautiful Black sisters in arms that Black men have set out and not voted because of her gender and because they believe that she's ghetto. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, on the world stage, we all know that Black Americans, we code switch. When we are at work, we do not act like we are at home, and then vice versa, do we not? We know when to do, how to do. And again, if that ever comes out where we just like, F it, I'm not dealing with this anymore, we already know we're going to get fired. But for that entire time, 5, 10 years that you've been working at that job, you've been code switching. You have your professional side, you have your home side, you have your I'm out with my girl, I'm out with my guy side. Everybody has these different sides, and we play them as they should be played. But see, here's the problem when one of our politicians that we thought was going to be in office, we thought that she's the right look, she's the right fit, she has the educational profile that we want. But then other Black people who are also professionals and educated say, well, I don't like how she's treating her position. I don't like the way she's acting as a congresswoman. So let alone she's going to be a senator. But we would like to infight. We would like to make a divide. Well, this is what I'm referring to.
And why people did not want Jasmine Crockett to win. It isn't policy, y'all. It's not her experience and it's not her incompetence. It's about two things, y'all. It's race and it's gender. Because to this country, a Black person winning is already too much, y'all. But y'all put a Black woman winning, that's double the threat, double the hate. And y'all know what's even sadder and even sicker and even more sadistic? You've got Black men online tearing Jasmine down for her wigs, weave, lashes, ghetto, being loud, throwing her under the bus, doing the goddamn work of white supremacist ideology for free. Still competing with Black women, still trying to police them, still not realizing that her winning is not a loss for you. It is a win for an entire race. We throw that word around ghetto, but what exactly is ghetto? And how come it don't stick to white folks when they do the same goddamn thing? Because when Black folks talk loud, dress bold, wear wigs, weave, lashes, it's called unprofessional, too hood. But when white folks turn around and cosplay and do the same thing, that same behavior, it's relatable, it's authentic, it's quirky, and it's shared and it's celebrated. Same behavior, different skin, different type of judgment. So now, this backlash isn't about standards. It's about who they think is allowed to lead. And until we stop internalizing white superiority and projecting it back on Black women, we'll keep sabotaging our own race and our own.
Okay, yeah, we get it. That was the end of the clip, by the way. We get it. We understand. Very, very emotional response, and I get it. She needs to tear somebody down. And again, she brought Black men into this. Okay, she brought Black men into this. And she's right. Sometimes when we denigrate our people very publicly and very shamefully, we're sort of, kind of, maybe doing the work of white supremacists. So she does have a point. But on the contrary, not to negate or refute anything that she's stating, there's one thing that we need to look at as well. Were they telling the truth? should black men or even black women be judging a black politician in office of her aesthetics, the way she looks, the way she dressed? There's a certain standard. But if you notice, if you kind of go back and you look at a lot of the other black politicians, and I know it's such an old political game, most of our sisters in office were very natural. Or if they had wigs, they were very good wigs. And I'm not talking about Jasmine Crockett's wig or eyelashes or whatever people have been talking about. I'm just making a distinction. So she talked about black men, how black men came out, and that's fair. She's absolutely telling the truth. But what happens when the sisters do it? Can anybody tell me what happens when the sisters do it?
There are actually people in my comments telling me that Jasmine Crockett is fighting for my civil rights. Bitch, I am an American. How is her fighting for illegals fighting for my civil rights? How is her voting for transgenders to play in women's sports fighting for my civil rights? Are y'all delusional? How is a woman that hates the country that our ancestors built through slavery fighting for my civil rights? She's fighting hard to destroy this country that my ancestors built for free. And you mean to tell me she's fighting for my civil rights? I don't think so, baby. And Booker T. Washington was so fucking right. And I hated to hear him say that when he said what he said about black people voting and black people being involved in politics. I have never saw fight so hard, a group fight so hard for the economic decline of the country that was built by my ancestors for free. And now I can get a piece of the pie. No. What my ancestors.
Does she have a point now? I want you guys to pay close attention to her hat. She has a MAGA hat on. It's subdued, no less. But she has a MAGA hat on. So we kind of already know who she voted for. So again, her response is very tainted, is very biased. We already know she's a Republican, okay? Just given, the visual evidence that we have. The real reason she lost. Again, I believe she believed too hard in the Democratic Party machine and completely abandoned the grassroots black voters. Now, as we stated back here, James Talarico, 52%, Jasmine Crockett, 46%, roughly a 200,000 voter difference. And who in the hell is James Talarico? I mean, he won her own backyard. Let's break this down why this very winnable race slipped through her fingers, and why, again, when it pertains to the black voters in that area, why the couch was the real winner of this election. Why people, even though there's been unprecedented people turning out, there's been unprecedented amount of voters. And I want you guys to look at the people behind him. I know this is a very sample size, okay? But even if I rewind the tape, you have white men, white women, Hispanic women, and one black dude who looks, let's just say, different, okay, when you're giving his mannerisms and his smiles. But I try to look back as far as I could. I see an Indian guy or maybe a Middle Eastern guy here, or Hispanic, okay? We got one black woman. So there's always one black person. Am I making this about race? I think race is one of those subconscious, very visual in politics and business that will always exist. It's one of those layers we're just not going to get rid of just like that. Okay? And then when she lost, again, not stating that, this is improper or she didn't have the right to do this. It just kind of makes me think.
We encourage each and every one of you to remain resilient. We cannot allow this type of behavior to be rewarded, because so long as they know that they can win, even if it means cheating, then they will continue to do it. So I am asking you, I am begging you to make sure that you go ahead and figure out where it is that you are supposed to vote stand in line, wait in line. Red has already stated.
All right, that's basically stating that there's been voter suppression, that people are possibly cheating. Now, Love says Crockett's national appeal did not translate into statewide support. People are tired of combative political politics. Live and learn. I'm sure there would be a strong comeback for her. That's a really good take. Crockett's national appeal did not translate into statewide support. Really good take. That coincides with what I just stated, right? She did not adhere to her base. Her entire campaign strategy was based on a mathematical error. She assumed that she had the black vote on lock. So she spent all her political capital pandering to the Hispanic vote. She compared ICE to slave catchers. She made a whole tour talking about how illegal immigrants are the backbone of the country. Reverse that, stop, quit, hold on. She compared ICE to slave catchers. Again, cosplaying, blending, minimizing what our ancestors went through in this country. And then she made a whole tour talking about how illegal immigrants are the backbone of the country. See, I think a lot of times because we are in support of someone, we take sides automatically. We don't look at things very neutrally. When you're telling another demographic of people who are illegally in the country that they are the backbone, and if you know your history of being a Black American, a foundational Black American, a descendant of slaves, a descendant of people who worked for free, that another group of people who are illegally in the country are the backbone. When Black men and women had the service jobs, when Black men and women had the meat packing jobs, when Black men and women were on farms, picking fruit, in the manufacturing plants, in the assembly lines. I believe, and I'm not speaking for only but myself, we need to stop relying on these political parties and this vote for candidates who are going to better our neighborhoods, better our communities, better us as a whole. And unfortunately, sometimes them people are not Black. Because we always have to ask ourselves, who are the puppet masters? Who are the people paying Jasmine Crockett? I mean, who are the people paying James Talarico? I mean, total transparency. Because a lot of times, that'll get the results that you absolutely need to make a very educated decision. See, if you really watch these Black politicians on both sides, because the Black Republicans do it as well, and that's because they're, in my opinion, their pockets are being filled. Jasmine Crockett is at Grace Baptist Church in this clip here. And look what she decided to throw in her speech to them.
Country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm.
Now, time out. I just want to back that up a little bit because she said this is a country of immigrants.
Trying to go and farm.
That's the first lie. Give me 1 second.
Right.
That's the first lie. This is a country of immigrants. Well, it's soon becoming that when we take, as I hate to use this term, but it does make sense in these regards. When you take into account heritage Americans, people who have been here from the inception of the country, this is not a country who were built by immigrants and a country that is of immigrants. It's have become that over time. And quite soon, there's going to be more immigrants in America than would be, those heritage Americans. But they would like us to believe that America first started off as an immigrant country. I mean, yeah, if you wasn't Native American or Black, one of the first original people here prior to the establishment of colonial rule. That's what we have to really understand. So when we have Black politicians on the world stage, and then even coming down to our local community stating this, and we have Black people in the audience, yeah, I already know that we're so lost. We don't know a bit of our history. Just like people would tell you that the Chinese created the railroads in America. No, the Chinese and Irish helped later. The first railroads in America, ladies and gentlemen, was built on the Eastern Seaboard by foundational Black Americans, by American descendants of slavery, about Black Americans, heritage Black Americans. This is simply despicable. Again, I don't want you guys to be biased as I am, because I do have my bias, but I can understand why she lost. Voter suppression. Of course, there's always voter suppression in every single election, even between whites. Now, I know we can get into the particulars that, white people tend to have more money so they can do more suppression. Yeah, but it's going to be a bit of that. But when Black people turn out to vote for a candidate, they win. When Black people turn out for a candidate, they win. They didn't show up for her. And what happened? The Hispanic vote didn't turn out for her. They voted for the white man, good old James Talarico. We have been saying for years that there is no Black-Brown coalition in the voting booth. There's no Black-Brown alliance. There's no Black-Brown, especially in politics. Now, that doesn't mean that we are at war. That doesn't mean that all Hispanics or Latinos are racist towards Blacks and vice versa, that we don't have Hispanic and Latino friends. I'm not stating that. I'm just stating that there is no coalition and there's no alliance. That's what I'm saying. Every election proves this, yet the Democrats refuse to learn. See, I think if we really want the Democrats to be the party that really represents foundational Black Americans, we are doing the right thing. Very hard to say. We're doing the right thing. I want you guys to listen in.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now.
Okay, this is the conversation I had with my wife and I. No one is trying to go farm right now. We were the farmers. We are the ones that had the farms. Because of the system, because of the supremacy in the system, and some of the laws, we had a lot of these farms on the border. But they say, oh, you didn't pay your taxes, so they took our land. They rewrit the deeds and titles, and they took our land. They put us in these blood loans and these blood deals where they knew that anyone will falter on these loans. So we've been tricked, we've been duped, we've been stolen, and we have been killed for our farms that she stated that we don't want to farm. Because what do farmers do? They teach their kids how to farm. Then they make it a business and they get hand workers and sharecroppers and field hands, etc. So what is the hell she's talking about? Because here's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. You would be a farmer, especially if you just have a high school diploma, you live near 3 farms, and they were paying you a fair wage for a fair day of work. I know it's not easy work. It's in the hot. It's in the cold. But if they were paying you, let's take, for instance, you worked in Alabama, Missouri, Texas, and they were paying you $12 an hour, $15 an hour, 5 days a week. I'm gonna let her finish.
Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not.
And that right there. Now, I'm not being petty. I'm just pointing out things that other people may have seen and like, nope, not the candidate for me. You see the antics here, the theatrics, like she the old Black school mama.
You're not. You're not. We We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
I know that's right.
I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't no.
You heard from the lady's mouth. She stated what we are. But when Black Americans pointed out that mass illegal immigration depresses our wages and locks us out of the labor markets, whether it be hospitality, construction, and agriculture, she gets very condescending. Raise your hands. Raise your hands if you want to go work on a farm. Raise your hand. We done picking cotton. Lady, everybody is done picking cotton. They have cotton picking machines now. But we don't want to call these things out because she's Black. We don't want to call these things out because she's a Black woman. And a lot of us may look at her as a mother figure in some regards, or a sister figure, or a friend. But when it comes to politics, ladies and gentlemen, I really want you to try to be colorblind. I know it's hard in a very hyperbolic political landscape that uses race. I know it's hard, but we have to do that so we don't continue to be tricked, duped, bamboozled, and hoodwinked by people that look like us, people that we might have even grown up with. Well, if you guys would have got off the couch and voted for Kamala Harris, we wouldn't be at war with Iran, killing innocent Palestinians. That's possibly true. Now, I didn't vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, by the way. I voted on reparations. I already told the candidate I voted for, who was a white woman, by the way, but she was the only candidate talking about reparations. What I know that the Black community needs. Now, Black people who are well off, high middle class, high class, got their 401ks, got a couple of acres here and there, you guys are perfectly fine. But majority of us are not doing so well. And I think those who are in the middle and on top need to understand that. Because you may have, a PhD, a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, multiple certifications. You think you may think you know what's best for the Black collective. But nonetheless, we always have high standards, especially for our political figures. And here's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. I've never seen Kamala Harris do this. Remember, what was the Black lady's name? Guys, help me out. What was the Black lady's name? I know I'm bad with words. People were clowning me the way I say Minneapolis, because they say it's not Minnie, it's Minneapolis. I don't know. But anyway, Condoleezza Rice. Now, I don't know how old you guys are. I'm pretty sure it's people within my demographics. But did you guys, she was a Republican, if I can, recall correctly, and everybody respected her on both sides because of her poise, right? Is Jasmine Crockett intelligent? Yes, I believe that she's intelligent. I believe that she's very, very intelligent. But I think she needs to take some classes on code switching, because if you notice what she does in these congressional offices, she actually blends home, street, and her education all into one. No, you're in a professional environment, sis. This is the highest, the most professional, unprofessional office in the land, United States government. But nevertheless, we must conduct ourselves as such. And the one thing, now I don't know what office she is in right now, but I believe she's in her state district office here with 2 side dancers. But this is absolutely ridiculous.
Cultural divide. I'm gonna get it on the floor.
You really about to do it?
40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Think it on it like that.
Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like fuck.
Now she's doing that in the government office. And some of you are saying, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Come on now. You're a congresswoman. Come on. And she tried to do this possibly to be relatable, to attract the younger voting base. I don't know. But when I saw it, automatically, I didn't look at any reviews. I didn't look at anybody else's videos. As soon as I saw the clip, I said, no, sis, that's the wrong way to go. But unfortunately, in this last clip, she belittled us. She said, how many of y'all sending y'all kids to college to go work on a farm? I would send my kid to college to learn agriculture so he can own his own farm and start a small business. See, that's the one thing that when these black politicians get in front of us, it don't matter what side they're on. They belittle us as if we're freaking stupid. As my friend used to say, hey, man, I ain't stupid. I got my GED. I said, you damn right, man. Congratulations. I don't care what form of education we have. We need to be congratulating ourselves. I congratulate him every single time. People will act as if he was dumb. First of all, black farmers exist. Black construction workers exist. And there were many more of them before the evasion of illegal immigration in our country. Because historically, black Americans built the agricultural and infrastructural foundation of this country. Dismissing that history to protect illegal labor, right? Dismissing that history to protect illegal labor and telling black people you wouldn't want those jobs anyway. It's a slap in the face because we had those jobs. We were building generational wealth with land, and we knew how to feed ourselves. We knew how to plant crops, grow trees. We knew all of these things. Now, most of us live in the suburbs, live in the city centers, live in the hoods, live in the ghettos, and we don't know how to grow anything. And when I don't mean all of us, fam. Don't take that as every single black person don't know how to farm, don't know. I'm saying a great majority of us. Unfortunately. So I don't know what she's talking about. This is gaslighting at its best. You did not go into the cultural sanctuary of a black church, which is, in my opinion, the most tolerant institution in our community, to lecture black folks about trans issues in sports. What? I thought black people, not politically, but psychologically, are conservative, meaning you believe in traditional family. You believe in man and women. You foundation of your spirituality most rests in the Holy Bible. Now, of course, we have other, black Americans who are Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists. I get that. But the majority of black Americans are Christian. But you come to a church talking about trans issues? And I'm not saying she needs to demonize those things. She can just not say them. I believe some of the best words are left unsaid. Hart says she's highly intelligent. She's an insult to black women, especially those of us who are educated and professional. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a sample size. She's not the only one, though. I played a Twitter clip early on, and this is the same sentiments that another black woman has stated. But she was biased because she was indeed a Republican. Now, Troy states, you are attacking the only source that we have. Show us the white people supporting blacks. I don't need to do that. We need to support ourselves. And here's another thing. I know a lot of times on social media, people state certain things, and you guys heard of this before. Words actually matter. The etymology of words really matter. And when he states that you are attacking, no, this is a diagnosis. This is an analysis. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm giving just cause and evidence. And however people perceive that evidence they perceive it. And as I stated before, Blacklogic is a truth-telling platform, but indeed I do have my bias, and I state as such. But this is what she was doing in Congress. Now, I don't know the other two women who are offbeat, and I have no idea what's going on in this video. That's why I said, no, this is not the right look. This is not the right look. And then they did a rendition of this. They did a re-imaging of this. This is not fair. That's not fair. Because I'm not trying to make fun of her, but I'm looking at people clowning her. Here's the thing. White people are not supporting her, okay? But Cardi B did. Cardi B supported her.
Primary voting is happening right now in Texas, and we need Jasmine Crockett to win. She is running for U.S. Senate, and if you want somebody that's going to fight for your right, if you want somebody to fight for your community, if you want somebody that's going to go up there and represent you and represent your issues, please vote for my sister, Jasmine Crockett.
I just want to ask Cardi, okay, you backing her? Cool. But what are you backing that she's fighting for? Let us know. Are you backing her that she's fighting for transgenders and women's sports? Transgenders in women bathrooms, women locker rooms, women dressing rooms? Because that's what Jasmine is fighting for. Are you backing her to keep illegal immigrants here that have raped women and essayed women? Because that's what she's fighting for. Are you backing her because she fight for mandatory vaccines? Because that's what she's fighting for. Are you backing her because she backs little kids transitioning? Because she backs that. That's what she's fighting for. So all y'all sassy, yeah, that's what y'all backing. Like, I want to know, really, that's what y'all backing? That's what y'all with? Okay, gotcha.
The time for voting for someone based on race is over. Because these are the things that people are not really stating. These are the policy that she signed off on, that I would think that Black folks in general are against, except for those who are in the community, for those who some of these policy may benefit. But majority of Black people, I would like to believe, I don't know, are totally against this. Then she admitted she went to a barbershop in Philly and a Black father voiced a genuine concern about his daughter having to compete against males. Instead of validating him, she deflected and told him to mind his business. Jasmine Crockett. See, these are some of the things that I think people are not totally aware of. They're not totally aware of. But they just want to jump on the gravy train because she's a Black woman. But no one talks about the episode in Philly in the barbershop, about a Black father voicing his concern about his daughter having to compete against men, against other boys who are 3 or 4 times her size. Instead of having a conversation, she deflected and told him to mind his business. But they would like to blame Black men for her failing to do so. And then every time, especially unfortunately, one of our sisters loses, they always blame Black men. And then if it's a Black man who loses a political seat or running for office and doesn't get it, they blame Black people. That has always been the case for some reason, especially in the past, 20 years?
From Stacey Abrams to Jasmine Crockett to Kamala Harris, you can never, ever blame Black people for you losing anything. Because if you are a Democrat and you are Black, you'll get Black votes. If you are a Democrat at all, you get Black votes. Nobody Democrat can blame Black people for shit. Every time a Democrat loses, you got to blame white people every time, because that's who it is. It's never us. They're just cowardly. Democrats are so cowardly to confront reality when it comes to, because though black people are the base, we're not the base of the money. But what we give them is credibility. No other group in America can say that. The issue with Jasmine Crockett that I have is I do not feel she has earned this run. I feel like she wanted to run because she got so much momentum because Trump said her name. And most of her campaign has been about complaining that Trump says her name, which is crazy, which is the only reason why you know who she is, because Trump said her name. And when she loses, if she loses, which I believe is highly likely, they will blame their usual suspects. And those usual suspects are black men.
He predicted that perfectly. He predicted that perfectly. Now to some of the comments I've been reading over here, I think it's imperative that I respond, especially as it pertains to blaming white people. And someone stated we're only 13% of the population. How can we support ourselves? That's the first agenda, to support ourselves. If we have grassroots candidates that we need to support, we have to groom them to understand the political landscape. Now, whoever they may be, because here's the thing, you do have to appease to white voters, or you have to appease to the other demographics, okay, in the district in which you're trying to win, whether it be black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Indian, whoever. But the one thing that you have to ensure is that the policies that you create are going to benefit black people just as well as other demographics of people. But if you know that we have been harmed the most, you know that we have lacked the opportunities more than, then these policies have to benefit us more so than any other group. Not that nobody else benefits, because it's always been the case. But when you go on your Bible run, when you go state to state, when you go district to district, city to city within Texas, and you're talking about transgender issues in a red state, no less. And here's the thing that I think that a lot of Democrats get wrong, because especially now, I'm not targeting our black women. I want to make sure I point that out. But when black women get all of this educational attainment, and we're living in the I'm independent, I have my own, I work for corporate America, I work for the government, I have my own house, I have my own this, that kind of builds a lot of masculinity. And maybe that creates even some sassiness. I don't know. I'm speaking in conjecture. I don't know, but you see them more strong than women who have always been with a man. Am I saying that's the reason why she lost? Absolutely not. I don't know her relationship. I don't know anything about that. But I know the antics in office probably deterred a lot of black people. Like, I can tell she's intelligent. She's smart. Sometimes she looks cute. She's not bad looking at all, you know. So, but she does some ghetto things, and people are hating that word. I get it. That has a long history behind it. But I'm just trying to point out.
This is bigger than the music.
I'm just trying to point out who else that we know. Who else that we know was in an office doing stuff like this? In the congressional office doing this. I think you guys are not really looking at it the way I looked at it. Not that she's dancing, right? She's dressed well. I like her little outfit there, dressed well. Got her hair did. But the one thing that threw me off was the dancing and then the mouth open. Come on. Come on. Ain't nobody beating up on our sister, but we have to diagnose this. We have to analyze this. just because we accept this when we at home, just because we accept this when we are at events, just because we accept this in the club, this is the congressional office. This is the United States of America. And yes, white people can be ghettos just as well as anyone else. But guess what? I hate to say it, but I still agree with Michelle Obama. When they go low, we go high. But unfortunately, in a lot of these situations, when they went low, Jasmine Crockett went lower, and it didn't work out for her. You know why? Because she's not a white male. Because when they went low on President Trump went even lower, and it worked out for him. All the white people was behind him. Oh, Mr. President, oh, great. You sure did stick it to those other guys. You stuck it to those Dems. So I get what you guys are stating. You're absolutely right. And that's the point I'm making. She was not palatable for the white demographics. She wasn't palatable for the Hispanic demographic. You guys have already made my point. And the reason why I set this up that way, so you can respond in the way that you have responded. Troy Body, I see that you have a lot of comments. Would you like to be invited up so we can have this discussion? You don't have to keep typing. You don't have to keep texting. We will have a simple discussion. I won't even call it a debate, but let me know if you would like to come up and say your piece. That way you don't have to type yourself to death. And then when we look at this, ladies and gentlemen, do you think that she will go to a white church and did what she did? But she brings other people's issues to the front of the line when she's standing in front of black people. Again, she brings other demographics of people issues to the front of the line when she's standing in front of black people. She's talking about transgender and illegal immigrants in a black church, but not even talking about their specific issues, policies they want to see to go forward. And when asked directly about reparations, she deflected to environmental justice. What? I think she took that playbook out of Obama's. When Obama was running his first term, I believe he did a rally in North Carolina. And they asked Obama, will you support reparations for the descendants of American slaves? He said, I can tell you who needs reparation. The North Carolina school system needs reparations. Deflection. See, in these regards, I think I have a little more respect for Kamala Harris because she said no. She said no. She just flat out. Now, she's changed her stance when she was running for president, but when she was VP and they talked about reparations, she said no. I have to respect that. But again, Representative Jasmine Crockett, when she was asked directly about reparations, she deflected to environmental justice. Then she admitted that black people see the billions of dollars visibly pouring into the migrant crisis and billions more going to overseas to stabilize foreign countries. We see the money. And what people don't understand is reparation comes in many different forms. Reparations to illegal people who are in our countries, billions of dollars, pouring into the migrants' crisis. That's reparations. That's reparative justice for people who don't even supposed to be in the country. But boy, you're black. You better not be asking for it. I don't want no goddamn black bastard asking for any damn reparations. That's how I feel when I hear a lot of the politicians in response to reparations. And here's another part I think people miss out on. When other groups demand legislation, they get it immediately. That's why they continue to have these people in office for 10, 15, 30 years in office. But when we ask for tangibles, we get told the government is broke and we should be happy with clean water. Right, Jasmine Crockett? Because environmental justice, which is supposed to be a basic human right, especially in a first world country like our own. Not a special favor. So again, if you guys are in support, okay? If you guys are in support of this, let me know.
I know y'all seen this, right?
Primary voting is happening right now in Texas, and we need Jasmine Crockett to win. She is running for U.S. Senate, and if you want somebody that's going to fight for your right, if you want somebody to fight for your community, if you want somebody that's going to go up there and represent you and represent your issues, please vote for my sister, Jasmine Crockett.
I just want to ask Cardi, okay, you backing her, cool, but what are you backing that she's fighting for? Let us know. Are you backing her that she's fighting for transgenders in women's sports? Transgenders in women bathrooms, women locker rooms, women dressing rooms? Because that's what Jasmine is fighting for. Are you backing her to keep illegal immigrants here that have raped women and essayed women? Because that's what she's fighting for. Are you backing her because she fight for mandatory vaccines? Because that's what she's fighting for. Are you backing her because she backs little kids transitioning?
Okay. So what I'm about to do, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna put an invite link inside of the chat. And this is at Troy Body. I don't think he heard me, but here's an invitation because he's talking about Trump as if I'm a Trump supporter. That's laughable. I'm never a Trump supporter, big guy. But I left that in the chat for Troy Body because he has a lot to say within the chat, and we can have that discussion. Not a debate, just a discussion. So if you can click that link, and from that point, I'll be trying to highlight other messages that I see here. See, Rhonda says Jasmine got what she needed, kicked out of our politics. Wow. See, Democrat North Carolina stood on principle about ICE and how immigration negatively affect ADOS, and the Dems made sure she lost her reelection. Now and again, we can go and define this, what this claim is here, this allegation. One black woman, Democrat North Carolina, stood on principle about ICE and how immigration negatively affects descendants of slaves here in America. And the Dems made sure she lost her reelection. I'm pretty sure we can go do some research and prove that to be true. I don't detect no lies there. I do not detect any lies. This is wild to me, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely wild to me. In my opinion, this is not about weaves. This is not about her lashes. Maybe a little bit about her tone. It was about her political allegiance, in my opinion. If you fight for tangibles for Black Americans, and again, don't get me wrong, you still have to do other things for the white, Hispanic, and Asian demographic that you're running for. But if you are fighting for tangibles for Black Americans, let me tell you, you might get 9 out of 10 of the Black vote. Because again, if you're talking about tangibles, and here's my disclaimer, the community will overlook the theatrics and get you across the finish line. They absolutely will. We don't care about her wig. We don't care about her lashes. We don't care about her dancing in Congress because she is providing tangibles. But when you have cross-sided allegiances and you're talking about illegal immigrants and you supported billions of dollars going to them, and you're talking about transgender and approving this and approving that, that goes against the Black traditional psyche of not being conservative in politics, but being conservative in psychology. And let me tell you, in Texas, there's over 2.34 million eligible black voters. If she had just energized 30%, if she have just energized 30% of us by respecting them and offering tangible policies, she would have easily overcome Talarico's 20 million, his so-called 20 million war chest. And the GOP's voting interference. But she didn't. She took the base for granted. And when you do that, the couch wins every single time. Every single time the couch wins when you do that. That's what happens when you ignore the base. I think, this is the age where black people in general, not all, but good enough, are not playing this game anymore. We're not allowing these black politicians to dupe us in the Democratic Party, let alone the Republican Party. The Republican Party majority just ignore us, and they just kind of do legislation that may be good for everybody. So they have more votes, especially when you have Kamala Harris that nobody really liked for various reasons. Not even talking about whether she's Indian or black, not even referencing that, not at all. Correct. Jasmine was still following the old Democratic strategy. Troy says, Black Americans lost 160,000 black-owned jobs when Trump removed DEI and affirmative action. It's actually a lot more than that, by the way. I actually did, if you guys check out a video I did yesterday, I believe, I talked about that. Absolutely, a lot of black jobs were eliminated because a lot of black people, and I'm originally from DC, I'm a native Washingtonian. A lot of black people, that's where all the federal jobs, downtown Northwest on Independence Avenue, Constitutional Avenue. We have all these streets named after certain things, but you have the Library of Congress, the State Department, the FBI. You have all these federal jobs down there. And at one point in time, DC was Chocolate City. We were 70% of the population in DC. So we got a lot of these federal positions. So when Republicans come in, they tend to shrink the office. So that's going to affect our community more so than any others. And here's another thing. When the Republicans do that, they know who it will hurt the most, whether you believe it's targeted or not. They know the demographic of people that is going to hurt the most, black people. Just as well, when the Democrats allow illegals inside of the country, and then a lot of these business owners hire illegals in construction, hire illegals in hospitality, hire illegals in medical fields. This is not a two-party system, ladies and gentlemen. White supremacy is a one-party system, and they keep playing us as the fool. That's why I say the only thing that you can rely on when it comes to a candidate is what they put on black and white. Wait a minute, what are the white people over here talking about? Because he may not vote on my issues, but maybe I can get on one of these things that'll help me out. But people would like to be emotionally charged and protected of somebody that they admire, protected of somebody they voted for, protected of somebody they may know. That's very unfortunate that we can easily be compromised in such regards. Now, if we take a step further, because we cannot fully understand what happened to Jasmine Crockett without looking at the ghost of 2024. Who's the ghost? You guys know who I'm referring to. I already stated that person's name. You guys know who the ghost is. We have to talk about her. Just a little, not too much. Kamala Harris. We told the Democratic Party 2 years ago that the game has changed. See, when Kamala Harris ran, They rolled out the celebrities. They had DJs on the stage. They had a guy in a pink suit doing the DJ. I was like, what? I mean, what is going on? They rolled out the fraternities and the sororities. They brought out the Megan Thee Stallion concerts. They gave us everything except, okay, here we go. They gave us everything except a specific Black American focused policy agenda. And what happened? A massive chunk of the Black electorate, especially, blame us, Black men, look at the lack of tangibles. Yeah. Black men supposed to be the leader of your families, right? We supposed to be the thinkers. We supposed to be the priests, the pastors. We supposed to be these people, right? And so when we said it, no. Look at the pandering and decided to sit on the couch. Oh. What am I saying? The same strategy. One of you guys said it earlier. I think it was Phoenix. Here we go, right here. This is what Phoenix said. Jasmine was still following the old Democratic strategy. She's dancing to Kendrick Lamar in the congressional office. Symbolism. When Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about her lashes, yeah, she bopped her upside the head with a bad beach blonde body built, whatever she stated. Oh, it was funny. It went viral. Symbolism. When she got in front of the Black church and talking about what we're not going to do, where is that? What we're not going to do, she told nothing but lies because we have been doing it.
None of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
You see all that theatrics? None of you guys are about to go out and farm right now. Have you ever thought about farm ownership? Why not say that? This entire spiel within her speech to the Grace Baptist Church was about illegal immigrants. And not that we should be owning these farms. We should be working these farms because we once did. So at this point, this is all symbolism and theatrics. She's trying to be relatable during these Black antics and what we're not going to do, because we say stuff like that in the Black community. Oh, we ain't picking no goddamn fruit. I ain't going out there in them fields. They paid you enough. You will go, I know I will. You tell me I just got put out. They say Blacklogic, man, you know, they got a farm up the street. They paying $15 an hour. I said, really? Guess where I'm going? I'm going to that farm. And I'm going to pick fruit. I don't know nobody. You think I would rather be homeless than earning money and picking fruit? You got to be out your mind. There'll be so many Black people out there picking fruit. I've been working on the railroad all day long day. They keep telling us what we won't, you know, what we're not going to do, what we won't do. Yes, we will. I used to work under the table making, in my opinion, it was really, really good money, $25 an hour lifting furniture. I was working for Swift. I was working for Mayflower. I was just carrying furniture in and out of rich white people homes and convention centers. Now I was getting paid $25 an hour. I was working 12-hour days, 6 days a week. It was backbreaking work, literally backbreaking work. And I did that before I joined the military. But nevertheless, we told the Democratic Party 2 years ago that the game has changed, and they think that we're still playing the same game. Again, Kamala Harris gave us everything, gave us a good concert, brought out the stars, except Black American focused policy agendas. So we took a seat. And then that election ushered in the current Trump era because the Democrats refused to negotiate with Black Americans. as a strategic voting bloc. And guess what people are saying? See what's going on? Trump did all that. That wasn't the point. Majority of Black Americans, we can talk about what we care about Trump. We don't really care. We know he a crazy white man. We know it. Whether you voted for him or not. But I think Black Americans in whole got tired of pushing these Black figures in front of us and saying that they're good for us. But you see what we got now? We don't care. We're Black in America. We always going to be dealing with some stuff. We dealt with some stuff under the Democrats, even Obama. We still had police brutality. So you have to miss us with all of this. But we can't keep voting for the same political party that keeps telling us what they're going to do for other people. Yes, the Republicans ignore us. Yes. Hey, well, can you get? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to increase tax deduction for businesses. That's what we're going to do. We're going to drill, baby, drill. That's what we're going to do. So it's kind of like, damn, well, do I vote for the country or I vote for somebody who's going to do something for every other group except Black Americans? Even though when they come to Black American spaces like the Black church, they're talking about immigration. They talk about transgender issues. They're talking about all these other things. But they'll come to the fish fry. They'll come to the cookout. They'll hold a concert and play music. But when it comes to the tangibles, hush over Jerusalem. Nothing to see, nothing to say. You would think that the DNC learned their lesson. You would think that Jasmine Crockett, watching the historical collapse, would realize that foundational Black American voters are no longer operating on blind loyalty. But she didn't. She doubled down on the exact same failed playbook. See, this is what you call not an attack on a Black, beautiful, intelligent woman. This is a diagnosis. This is an analysis. She thought that because she gave us viral clapbacks in the congressional hearings, we were going to ignore the fact that her policy agenda put illegal immigrants and the LGBTQ plus community at the front of the line. She thought that FBA vote was entitlement. Texas just proved it's a transaction. No tangibles, no vote. Remember that? Where you guys at? No tangibles, no vote. They're trying to say, oh, Black men didn't vote for her this time, so it's their issue. Well, there was a lot of Black women that didn't vote either. Well, that's another thing. Yeah, I never trying to support your sister. It's because she's a woman. Sexism. It's because she's Black. Racism. No tangibles, no vote. And this brings us to the hardest part of what I'm saying here. What we need in the community. The whole Black faces in high places trap they always tell us. For decades, the political establishment has tried to buy our loyalty with representation instead of legislation. That rhymed. I didn't even know that. That's been happening for decades. To gain trust and buy our loyalty with representation instead of legislation. They put a Black face on a podium and they expect us to cheer them on while the actual policies coming out of the office actively harm the Black middle and working class. Jasmine Crockett was a masterclass in performative representation alongside Kamala Harris. See, this is the ghost. This is who I call the ghost. Her images is still vibrating throughout the decades and affecting a lot of the things that a lot of these politicians on the Democratic side are still doing. As if we forget. They think that we have this like 5-minute memory. Oh, they'll forget in the next 2 or 3 years. And we haven't. And we haven't. Because I stated before, when you asked her about reparations, she started talking about environmental justice. When you asked her about black families being priced out of their neighborhoods or losing their jobs in trades to illegal labor, she gave you a history lesson on how hard immigrants work. Look at that. Representative Crockett. Representative Crockett, what are you going to do about a lot of the illegal immigrants coming inside the community taking, or not even being taken, but being offered the jobs to illegal labor? Because here's what people don't understand. No, illegal immigrants are not taking American jobs. Illegal immigrants are not taking American jobs. They're not doing that. What do you mean by that, Blacklogic? They're not taking American jobs. They're being given American jobs. The Democrats are letting them in by the millions, and the Republicans are the ones who hired them. The only problem with this is Democrats are saying illegal immigration good. The Republicans saying illegal immigration bad. They're stating that no one can come into the country, except white people from South Africa. You see that? One party system. See, white supremacy takes both sides of the argument, takes both sides of the coin. They keep having you guys to play fool. We don't understand as the American people, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, and other, we are the tennis ball. The politicians are playing the game. And we keep losing. And when we lose as Americans, we definitely lose as black Americans. That's all I'm saying. You get a history lesson on how hard immigrants work for this country. Family, we have to graduate. We have to graduate from politics of symbolism. A black politician who advocates for policies that dilute your political power and depress your wages is not an ally just because they like you, just because they look like you. James Talarico is a white man from the progressive establishment. But politically speaking, the black American community lost nothing when Crockett was defeated because neither candidate was offering the black agenda. All these other groups, Jews, Asians, Muslims, Arabics, they can go to a lot of these different people. The Hispanic community in California went to all of these politicians and asked for a plan that would specifically target their community, and they got it. She had no black agenda. The only difference is the FBA community flexes its muscles. This is how we flex our muscles. By showing the Democratic Party what happens when you disrespect the base. So somebody was talking about, what's the plan then? What's the plan? Well, how do we go forward? Now, I'm no leader. I'm no leader of nobody. But to your point, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? The FBA strategy moving forward has to be ruthless and strictly business. Strictly business. We are not Republicans and we are not Democrats. I've been stating this. We are not Republicans and we are not Democrats. Do you guys hold an office? Are you a congressional member? Are you a congresswoman, a congressman? Are you a senator? Are you in are you Supreme Court? Why do people walk around, everyday people? No, you vote for Republicans and you vote for Democrats. You yourself is not a Republican. You yourself is not a Democrat. We are foundational black Americans. We are our own special interest group, and we need to think like that. Because we got black Democrats fighting against black Republicans. It's silly. It's silly. We all we got, and we've been knowing this for a very long time. And yes, do we need allies in the white demographics? Absolutely. We probably would have been genocide without white people. Can we be truthful for a second? We have probably been killed off if it wasn't for good white people. I want you guys to think about Harriet Tubman. I want you guys to think about the Underground Railroad. Who are the people that was part of the Underground Railroad? White people. Good white people. that didn't want to see the extinction and degradation and us being eliminated from the face of the earth. So yes, we do need white alliance. Like this white old man I heard say one time, will America ever go back to black, white, and Native American? What's all this new shit? But as you was saying about a plan, so I don't get off track here, that's the first and foremost. Let's put down the Republican thing. Let's put down the Democratic thing. Let's put down the independent thing. Just be black. However you vote is however you vote for your personal interests. Whoever you support is for your personal interest. But here's my blueprint. Here's the things that will get a grassroots candidate in office. Again, having a black agenda, having a white agenda. See, be smart about it. You have to appease your voting blocks. Now, you have more black people in your district, then you have to appease them more. If you have more white people in the voting block, you have to appease them more. But that doesn't mean that you subjugate black folk. You write the legislation as if white people or Hispanic people or Asian people are going to get more. But in turn, we probably get about the same. See, that's about being intelligent, not political. But demand lineage-based tangible. Stop accepting minority or people of color or BIPOC programs. When they say people of color, the whole FBA gets left out. The whole ADOS get left out. We demand policies written specifically for the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery in this America. Also, if a candidate prioritized, like Jasmine Crockett has done, non-citizens over native-born Americans, over native-born FBA citizens, we should withhold our vote. Then the couch becomes the weapon, and we will use it every single time. That means we're going to sit our black ass down and do absolutely nothing and let you guys cry on social media. We need to control the local level. We definitely need to control the local level. While we fight these statewide and federal battles, Black American voters must start, we really need to start being hyper-focused on mayors, city councils, and district attorneys. This is where the budgets are allocated in your communities and your neighborhoods. And that is where the tangibles are distributed. Jasmine Crockett lost because she was dancing in Congressional Hall. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's probably one of the reasons why she lost. Let this be a warning to every politician in the nation, as well as in Texas. We are not your mules anymore, Republican or Democrat or dependent. We are coming to get our check. We're talking about tangibles, ladies and gentlemen. Not just reparations, right? But policy that will really help our communities, support for our schools, local infrastructures, etc. But I get it. If you just want to vote for her, if you just want to support her because she's black and we need black faces in places and we're never going to get nothing out of it, then I can already tell you right now, this ain't the channel for you. We speak on truth. We analyze, we break down, we diagnose, and we don't take sides, black, white, Hispanic, Republican, or Democrat. We're just going to call out the truth because, again, if a white lady would have came out with some tangibles for Black Americans, would you still would have voted for Jasmine Crockett? Even though she was talking about illegal immigration and transgenderism? If an old white lady came out, she had a good running. Take, for instance, James Talarico wasn't in the office. Would you vote for Jasmine Crockett? Or would you vote for the white lady who's providing tangibles? I'll be voting for the tangibles. Just as well as I did in the presidential election. I will be voting for tangibles. But I get it. Some people like to vote on color. That hasn't worked out for us, fam. That has not worked out for us. Troy Body said, and this is the same person, ladies and gentlemen. This is my last comment reading from this particular person because I've already put an invite link in so they can join the platform so we can have a discussion. But again, he has failed to do that. But I'll read this last one and I'll be done with it. Lay out a plan and stop supporting Trump on the down low. So I just laid out a plan, number one. And two, I don't support Trump. But I do support some of the things that Trump has done. And I think when I say some, I think one. Not the way that ICE have been treating people, but the whole ICE operation from a bird's eye view, meaning apprehending and deporting people who are illegally in our country, especially when you have neighborhoods in Chicago that immigration has overran, you know, places in Minneapolis, places that have overran, that has depressed the wages of Black workers in those areas. And then instead of hiring Black workers for, let's say, $12, $15, $20 an hour, they have let them go or fired them and hired illegal immigrants and paid them half the wages, $7 an hour, $8 an hour. So when it comes to illegal immigration, I'm not just looking at as an American issue, but I'm also looking at it from a demographic issue, how it affects us. So that's a good thing. Now, all these other things that Trump is doing, at first I was kind of on board with the tariffs, and then the tariffs started to be very threatening and tactics being very revengeful. And I'm like, nope, I'm not all about that. So you can like a thing, but not be totally with it in the way how they're doing it, right? You may like this particular cake, but you don't like the way they make it. I don't know if that was a good example or not, but nevertheless. Okay, we have a new comment here. Let's see. Oh, F this Trump lover, the fun racist IQ line on immigrants. You're just as racist as Trump. I don't think nobody can be as racist as the claims that you're making on Trump. I don't think that's even possible. Okay, let me read this other one real quick. Stop demonizing immigrants. White people used to blame the same stuff on Black people. Oh, don't fall, educate yourself, get involved in this work. Okay, not bad. Okay, wow. So, by the way, Eric, just because I'm off of Troy Body, let's talk about you. How am I demonizing immigrants? Can you point out something very specific that I demonize immigrants? Because one, I said immigrants didn't take American jobs. American jobs were presented to illegal immigrants. And I'm talking about illegal immigrants, by the way, not immigrants, illegal immigrants. So let's get that straight. Number one, illegal immigrants. Number two, they was offered the jobs. And then number three, they were dumped in certain communities and not others. So what we're talking about? Oh, okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. See, have you noticed when you speak relevance to someone, right, and you can recall the things that you stated because you're not being hateful, they start to call you names, name calling, and being very denigrating? I'll just put you in a timeout. They can come back once they're done. Put them in a timeout. But this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you speak politics and you speak truth and you be neutral about it. People get very emotional. People get very, very emotional. And this is not only for the betterment of the country, this is for the betterment of your area, the betterment of your state, the betterment of your district. And this is only an example that can expand nationwide. This is why a lot of times Black politicians lose, because a lot of Black people are like, hey, listen, I see all of these people from another country being housed, being closed, being funded. But when it comes to, we want one of our community centers renovated, we want more shelters, we want more after work programs, like anything that would benefit the Black community, they tell us, oh, we don't have the money. Because we have to talk about the money, do we not? Because when Jasmine Crockett and the political establishment told foundational Black Americans that the government is broke, the government is broke, child. They're relying on you not knowing how the federal budget actually works. I tell you, they prey, they pry on our stupidity. They prey, they prowl on our stupidity. But again, You have a lot of people who are emotionally charged, who equate this to racism. You're a Trump supporter, not a Trump supporter, didn't vote for Trump, would never voted for Trump. But I get it. That's when your emotions get involved. But we have to talk about the money, should we not? I think that's a good place to start, or to finish, rather. I've been going for quite some time. We have to talk about the money because when Jasmine Crockett and the political establishment said they're broke, do y'all remember that rumor floating around about the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, right? Potentially cutting a stimulus check to the American people from government savings. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember like, oh, we're going to get a check back because of DOGE. So everybody's like, okay, DOGE, you guys are cutting out on the fraud, waste, and abuse of America. Great. That's good for our tax dollars, right? I would think that sensible Americans understood that. Now, DOGE went to something totally different. We didn't know DOGE was going to cut jobs. We didn't know DOGE was going to do all these other things. But what we thought is going to root out fraud, waste, and abuse in our government, right? And expose those politicians who were a part of it, right? That's what remember that? Yeah. You guys remember those checks we were supposed to get? It was supposed to be like $5,000 or $1,200. But the moment that idea hit the airwaves, Jasmine Crockett was one of the front lines to shut it down. She said, we are not in business of giving out money. What? Sometimes I like to ask if people are serious about what they say. The Democrats not in the business of giving out money? Are you serious right now? I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted that this political candidate says such a thing. I want you guys to understand that because they're not in the business of giving out money. Is she serious right now? All the money that they've given out to illegal immigration, all the money they've given out to support LGBTQ community. No, you guys give out money. Now, the Republicans give out money. They just give them to corporations. Well, Obama did that too with the whole bailout plan. I think we have a really short memory sometimes when it comes to these things. We have a really, and guess what? By the way, white people are acting a fool right now. I saw so many white TikTok videos and they are just happy that Jasmine Crockett lost. Now, hopefully none of our people will ever stoop to that level. But it's always going to be one. I don't think we should ever stoop to that level where we're cheering on in a way that I've seen a lot of white content creators making fun of Jasmine Crockett. Because when she was giving her concede speech, she was crying. And some guy made this video, some white guy, just start laughing. But anyway, do you guys remember those checks? $5,000 or $1,200? She's the one who shut it down. She was on the front lines of one of the ones that shut it down. I mean, if we look at the receipt, they are absolutely in business, the Democrats, of giving out money, just not to us. Because when an illegal immigrant and an asylum seeker, as they call them, or a refugee crosses the border, they are immediately plunged into an economic matrix that Black American citizens are locked out of. We don't get the same support. We don't get the same money. We don't get the same nothing. And I'm talking about programs that are managed by the Administration for Children and Families and the Office of Refugee Resettlement. They get refugee cash assistance. They get refugee medical assistance. They get fast track access to SNAP, WIC, and TAF, all these governmental programs They get specialized housing vouchers and business grants. This is what they get. And then after giving them the blueprint, the capital, and the safety net, the establishment turns around and give them a little bit more. That's what's going on right now. This is the reason. These are the reasons why I believe she lost. But, you know, the Democrats, they wag their fingers at us and say, look at Javier and Maria. And the Republicans. The Republicans do the same thing. Look at Javier and Maria. They come over here and work hard. They came here with $5 and got it out the mud. Why y'all so lazy? No. This is the point I'm making. They didn't get it out the mud. They got it out the federal treasury. The same treasury built on the uncompensated generational slave labor of foundational Black Americans. They get to double dip into the resource we fought for. While politicians like Crockett tell us that our money goes further when we send it to Honduras or Haiti to stabilize their countries. You want to stabilize what? Wait a minute. Wait one black darn minute. You want to stabilize other countries, but you don't want to stabilize the Black community. What? Oh, that's going to help America. Got it. But what are you going to do to help us right here in America? If you really want to stabilize something, why don't you stabilize the Black family? Stabilize the Black working class in Dallas, Houston, East Texas, America. But she wouldn't do that. And this is exactly why the couch swallowed her campaign whole, because that's what the majority of the people were, on the couch. See, I called this from the very beginning. Whenever a Democrat loses, especially a Black Democrat, who do they immediately blame? They blame Black men. The moment the race was called for James Talarico, the narrative shifted very, very quickly. They didn't blame her lack of FBA policies. They didn't blame her disrespect of the Black church. They said she lost because she is a strong, independent Black woman, and Black men have internalized white supremacy. They say we couldn't handle her wigs, her lashes, and her attitude. We couldn't? Or was it the lack of a Black agenda? Was it the lack of Black tangibles? Was it the lack of Black policies? Let's do a reality check, should we not? This sister in the chat, you know exactly what time it is. Black women did not approve of that character that she was playing either. It came off as a minstrel show. But even more importantly, Black men and women would have overlooked the theatrics. They would overlook the symbolism. They would have overlooked the dancing in Congress. They would have overlooked all these things if she delivered on policy. We don't care about your lashes. We don't care about your dancing. We care about your legislation. If you're fighting for anti-Black hate crime bills, if you're fighting for lineage-based FBA protections and closing the racial wealth gap, we will carry you to the finish line. We will convince our white counterparts, our Hispanic counterparts, that Jasmine Crockett is the candidate for us. But the Democratic Party refused to look in the mirror. When Hispanics don't turn out, they ask, how can we serve you better? When white suburban women don't turn out, they ask, what are your concerns? When Black men don't turn out, they say, get in line and shut up, nigga. You cannot verbally abuse the very demographic you need to win, and then cry out on camera when you get outspent 5-1 and lose your primary. James Talarico didn't beat Jasmine Crockett. Her own hubris beat her. Let this be a masterclass for every politician watching right now. The days of vote blue, no matter who, and red, somebody dead. Those days are over. The days of FBA voters showing up just because you have melanin and a D next to your name are over. The days of FBA voters showing up just because you have melanin and a R next to your name are over. We are operating on a strict exchange of goods and services. You provide the tangibles, we provide the votes. If you pander to everyone else while telling us to wait at the back of the bus, we will sit our black ass on the couch and watch you lose. And we will not lose one wink of sleep over it. We may have some tea or some coffee and still fall asleep. But anyway, if you guys are new to Blacklogic, if you appreciate, a very transparent, raw, real, unapologetic truth, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bells, turn all the way. Because, YouTube, they love playing games with channels that tell the truth. They just hate that. Drop a couch emoji. Because I really want this platform to be based on truth. I do have my bias. I do have my perspective. But you do have a voice if you guys want to come up and talk sometimes when I go live. I know I do a lot of pre-recordeds. But nevertheless, I thank you guys for joining me here this morning. You guys have a great, wonderful day. Be one.